Chapter 12, Part 2 of Bill the Conqueror by P.G. Wodehouse. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. A visitor for Mr. Paradine. The girl, who had so pleased Horace's critical eye, walked on till she came to the gate of Mr. Paradine's grounds, then turned in and proceeded down the drive towards the house. This was familiar territory to her. She was surprised to find how clearly she remembered all the various landmarks. There was the funny old shingled roof, there the window of her bedroom, and there through the trees gleamed the lake. Her eyes dimmed, and she caught her breath with a little gasp as she saw the lake. The 2 dressing sheds were there, also the diving board, all just the same as they had been centuries ago when she was 16, skinny and freckled. She walked on and rang the bell, and presently Mr. Paradine, once more up his ladder, was aware of Roberts the butler on the floor below him. "Eh?" said Mr. Paradine absently. "A lady wishes to see you, sir." Mr. Paradine almost slid down the ladder. It was a rare, almost an unprecedented occurrence for ladies to wish to see him. "Who is she?" "A Miss Sheridan, sir." There had been no affecting reunion between Flick and Roberts. To each the other had appeared as a stranger. Flick remembered that on her visit to this place 5 years ago there had been a butler, but the personality of Roberts had not stamped itself on her mind. As for Roberts, if he recalled the small girl who had stayed at the house in the 3rd year of his butlership, he did not associate her with this attractive young person. "Did she say what she wanted?" "No, sir." "Where is she?" "I have shown her into the morning room, sir." "I suppose you had better ask her to come up here." "Very good, sir." The uneasy suspicion which had disturbed Mr. Paradine's mind that his visitor had come to collect funds for some enterprise of the community church vanished as she entered the room. The community church, when it made its periodical assaults on his purse, did so through the medium of females of a maturer vintage. He looked at her inquiringly, so obviously puzzled that Flick, though she was far from being in a cheery frame of mind, smiled faintly. "You don't remember me, Mr. Paradine?" "Why, to be frank—" "Well, it's quite a long time since we met. I stayed here 5 years ago with my uncle, Sinclair Hammond." "Good heavens!" Mr. Paradine, who had contented himself so far with a wary bow at long range, sprang forward and shook her hand warmly. "I'd never have known you. Bless my soul, you were quite a child then. I remember you perfectly now. Bless my soul, yes. So you're back in America, eh? Do you live here now? Marry an American, eh?" "No, I'm not married." "Just visiting? Well, well, I'm delighted to see you again, my dear. You caught me just in time. Oddly enough, I'm on the very eve of sailing for England to stay with your uncle." "I know. That's why I've come here. Uncle Sinclair wants you to take me back to England with you. You've had his cable?" "Cable?" said Mr. Paradine. "I remember no cable." He rang the bell. "Roberts, has a cable come for me recently?" "Yes, sir. One arrived yesterday. If you remember, sir, I brought it to you in this room. You were busy at the bookshelves at the moment, and instructed me to place it on the table." The table was covered with a deep top-dressing of books and papers. Mr. Paradine rummaged among these, and presently came to the surface bearing triumphantly a buff envelope. Roberts, vindicated, left the room. "I really must apologize," said Mr. Paradine. "I have a bad habit of snowing my correspondence under. All the same, Roberts should have reminded me. Cables are important things." He opened the envelope and read its contents. "Yes, this is the one. Your uncle says you will be calling on me, and will I bring you over to England? Of course. Only too delighted. Where are you staying? With friends in New York?" "No, I'm all alone." "Alone?" Mr. Paradine replaced his rimless glasses, which had fallen off, and stared at her. "You don't mean to say your uncle let you come over here all alone?" "I ran away," said Flick, simply. "Ran away?" "From home. And now?" she said, with a crooked smile and a little lift of her shoulders, "I'm running back again." Even with the aid of his glasses, Mr. Paradine seemed to find it hard to inspect her as closely as he wished. He came a step nearer, peering at her, bewildered. "You ran away from home? But why?" "They wanted me to marry somebody I found I didn't want to marry. Uncle Sinclair," she went on quickly, "hadn't anything to do with it, poor dear. It was the others, Aunt Frances and Uncle George." Mr. Paradine would have liked footnotes explaining these two new characters, but he hesitated to interrupt the flow of a narrative which was gripping him strongly. "Things," continued Flick, "got rather unpleasant, so I ran away and came over here. I thought I could get work of some kind." "I never heard of such a thing." "That's practically what everybody said whom I asked for work. I never dreamed anybody could be so little wanted as I was. I had a certain amount of money when I got to America, and I supposed it would last ever so long, but it seemed to melt away, and one night I had my bag stolen with almost every penny I possessed in it. That finished me. I stuck it out for another couple of days, and then I spent my last $2 on a cable home." Mr. Paradine, though capable on occasion of behaving like a volcano, was a soft-hearted and romantic man. Flick's story touched him. "And then?" "I got a cable back telling me to go to you, and you would look after me and bring me back to England." "My dear child, of course I will, of course. Your room shall be got ready at once, the same one you had 5 years ago." "I'm afraid I'm an awful nuisance." "Nothing of the kind," said Mr. Paradine heatedly. "How dare you say you're a nuisance? You're nothing of the sort. Would you like some tea?" "I should rather, if it's not giving too much trouble." The ringing of the bell did Mr. Paradine the service of helping him cover his embarrassment. There was to him something poignantly pathetic in this meekness on the part of a girl who only a short time back had on her own showing been so abundantly equipped with spirit as to run away from home and cross the Atlantic to try her luck in a foreign land. Until the tea arrived he moved about the room with his back turned, fussing over his books. "But if you go home," he said, when Flick had drunk a cup of tea and seemed the better for it, "you will have to marry this man you dislike." He realized that it might be tactless, this harping on a delicate subject, but curiosity overcame delicacy. He was feeling like a child being told a story. "Oh, I don't dislike him," said Flick tonelessly. "I'm very fond of someone else who isn't fond of me, so I've decided I might just as well marry Roderick as do anything. Trying to live in New York on nothing has changed my views of life a good deal. It has made a comfortable home and lots of money seem more attractive. One has got to be practical, hasn't one?" She got up and began to walk about the room. "What a lot of books you have!" she said. "Ever so many more than Uncle Sinclair." "He has some I would be very glad to own," said Mr. Paradine handsomely. He would have liked to hear more of this man whom Flick was fond of, but who was not fond of her. But he gathered that she looked upon her narrative as completed, and would resent further questioning. He followed her across the room and touched her shoulder with an awkward little pat of condolence. She looked around at him, and he saw that her eyes were misty. There was a momentary pause, tense with embarrassment, and he covered it by picking up the photograph at which she had been looking. It was a full-length snapshot of a burly young man in football costume, staring out of the picture with the doughy stolidity habitual to burly young men in football costume. "That is my nephew, William," said Mr. Paradine. Flick nodded. "I know." "Oh, of course, yes," said Mr. Paradine. "He was staying here when you and your uncle visited me, wasn't he?" "He looks very strong," said Flick. She felt that she must say something. "He is strong," said Mr. Paradine, "and," he added gruffly, "he is an idle, worthless young waster." Flick uttered a sharp exclamation. "He isn't? Oh, I beg your pardon," she hurried on. "What I meant to say was that I don't think you know how hard he is working now to try to find out what is wrong with your London business." "Hallo!" Mr. Paradine put up his glasses. "How do you know anything about that?" I met him." "Over in London?" "Yes." "That's odd. Where did you run across him?" In our garden." "There!" said Mr. Paradine. "What did I say? He spends his time fooling around at garden parties." "It wasn't exactly a garden party," said Flick. "He really is trying his hardest to find out why those prophets have fallen off so much." "Oh, yes." "Oh, but he is," insisted Flick. She refused to allow herself to be intimidated by the old man's gruffness. The fact that he still kept Bill's photograph in his library, that holy of holies, must surely be significant. "I'll tell you something he's found out already. He's discovered that Mr. Slingsby is selling nearly all your wood pulp to a firm named Higgins and Bennet at a very small profit, when he has had much better offers elsewhere." "What?" "It's quite true. We both think that Mr. Slingsby isn't very honest." "Nonsense! As straight and able a man as I ever met, and I'm a judge of character." "You can't be a very good judge of character if you think Bill is an idle waster," said Flick warmly. "Hello! You seem very friendly towards him." "I am." "Why, you hardly know him." "I've known him for years." "Yes, I suppose you have, if you like to put it that way. This is interesting, what you tell me about those sales. I can't understand it. Did William tell you how he found out?" "No, but he's awfully clever." I never noticed it." "Well, he is, and I'm sure that if you would take him into your business and give him a fair start, he would do wonders." Mr. Paradine chuckled. "If I ever think of founding a William boosting club, I shall know where to go for a president." "I think he's rather hurt that you haven't sent him a word since he got to England, asking him how he's getting on." "I'll bet he hasn't given me a thought since he landed," said Mr. Paradine callously. "Still, if you think he's so sensitive, I'll send him a wireless from the boat and arrange a meeting." "I wish you would." "But I don't even know where he is." 9 Marmont Mansions, Prince of Wales Road, Battersea Park, London," said Flick glibly. "Good gracious! How do you know that?" "He told me." Mr. Paradine looked at her curiously. "I don't know how long you were talking in this garden of yours," he said, "but there doesn't seem to have been much that he didn't tell you. I suppose he roasted me, eh?" "He said you were a perfect darling," said Flick, "who tried to make people believe you were a terror and didn't deceive anybody." She stooped and bestowed a swift kiss on the bald spot in the centre of Mr. Paradine's mop of stiff white hair. "I'm going out into the garden," she said. "I want to see if you've been and changed everything since I was last here. If I find you have, I'll come back and smack you." Mr. Paradine followed her with a round-eyed gaze as she left the room. His thoughts strayed back to the story she told him, and he gave a discontented sniff. A man who isn't fond of that girl," he mused, "must be a fool." He picked up the photograph of Bill and looked at it, a rather wistful smile curving his lips. "An idle young hound, William, but not unattractive. By no means unattractive." He put the photograph down and toddled off to his ladder. End of chapter 12, part 2.